Ever wondered what happens when a town dies? What echoes remain in the silence? Today, we're diving deep into the captivating and often chilling world of American ghost towns. From the legendary hauntings of Calico to the forgotten stories of Kahaba, we'll uncover the history, the abandonment, and the spine-tingling tales that refuse to fade away. Get ready to explore 10 incredible locations where the past is not just history, it might just be a presence. 10. Kahaba, Alabama. Kahaba, also spelled Kahaba, served as Alabama's first permanent state capital from 1820 to 1826. Situated at the confluence of the Alabama and Kahaba rivers, it was a strategic location for trade and transportation. After the capital moved, Kahaba continued as a thriving river town and a significant cotton shipping port. It later served as a Confederate prison during the Civil War. Kahaba's decline began after the Civil War. The river shifted, leading to flooding and making it less viable as a port. A series of yellow fever epidemics further devastated the population. By the late 19th century, Kahaba was largely abandoned. Today, it is the Kahaba Archaeological Park, preserving the ruins and remnants of the former town. The site is known for its natural beauty and historical significance. Despite being a natural and historical park, Kahaba has a reputation for being haunted, with many ghostly tales associated with its past. The Crocheron Mansion site, this was the location of a grand mansion, and visitors have reported seeing a ghostly orb of light, often described as blue or white, floating in the area. Legend says it is the spirit of a woman who died waiting for her lover to return. The Old Kahaba Cemetery is a place where many visitors report feeling a strong sense of the past and experiencing unexplained emotions or sensations. Some have claimed to see shadowy figures among the tombstones. The site of the Confederate prison, given its history as a prison where many Union soldiers died, some believe the area retains a somber energy and have reported feelings of sadness or unease. Visitors to the park have described hearing faint voices, footsteps, or the rustling of unseen movement, particularly in the more remote areas of the former town site. The meeting of the two rivers is sometimes associated with ghostly legends and unexplained phenomena, perhaps linked to the town's reliance on the waterways and the lives lost there. 9. Jerome, Arizona. Jerome was a booming copper mining town perched precariously on Cleopatra Hill. Founded in the late 19th century, it became one of the richest copper mines in Arizona, attracting a diverse and often rowdy population. At its peak in the 1920s, Jerome had a population of around 15,000 people. It was known as the wickedest town in the West, due to its numerous saloons, brothels, and frequent lawlessness. Phelps Dodge Corporation was the major mining operator. The copper mines became less profitable, and the last major mine closed in 1953. Jerome's population plummeted to just a few dozen hardy souls. However, in the latter half of the 20th century, Jerome experienced a revival as an arts community and tourist destination, drawn to its stunning views, historic architecture, and colorful past. While now inhabited and vibrant, many of its old buildings are said to retain their ghostly residents. Jerome is considered one of the most haunted towns in Arizona, with numerous stories and reported paranormal activity. The Jerome Grand Hotel, formerly United Verde Hospital, this is perhaps the most famously haunted location in Jerome. Guests and staff have reported seeing apparitions, including a former maintenance man named Sammy, hearing unexplained noises, feeling cold spots, and experiencing objects moving on their own. Room 46 is particularly notorious. The Asylum Restaurant, formerly a mental hospital, given its history, this building has numerous reports of paranormal activity, including disembodied voices, shadowy figures, and feelings of unease. The Gold King Mine Museum and Ghost Town, this historic site outside of Jerome proper, also has reports of ghostly encounters, particularly around the old machinery and buildings. The Douglas Mansion State Historic Park, former home of a mining magnate, visitors have reported seeing the apparition of a woman and hearing unexplained sounds. Throughout the town, many of Jerome's historic buildings, saloons, and even the streets are said to be haunted by the spirits of miners, prostitutes, and other residents from its wild past. The steep, winding streets and the echoes of its boomtown era contribute to the eerie atmosphere. 8. Glenrio, Texas/New Mexico. Glenrio was established in the early 20th century as a railroad town and later became a popular stop along the historic Route 66. Its location straddling the Texas-New Mexico state line gave it a unique identity. Glenrio offered travelers gas stations, motels, like the Little Six Motel, restaurants, and curio shops. It was a vital rest stop for those journeying across the country. The decline of Glenrio began with the construction of Interstate 40, which bypassed the town. As traffic dwindled on Route 66, businesses closed, and residents moved away. By the late 20th century, Glenrio was virtually a ghost town, with its buildings slowly decaying along the old highway. It serves as a poignant reminder of the impact of progress on small roadside communities. The desolate and forgotten nature of Glenrio contributes to its ghostly aura. This iconic but dilapidated motel is a focal point for reported paranormal activity. Visitors have claimed to see shadowy figures in the windows, hear unexplained footsteps in the empty rooms, and feel cold spots. The crumbling remains of former businesses are said to hold echoes of their past activity, with some reporting the faint sounds of traffic or voices. The stillness and decay of Glenrio can create a strong sense of melancholy and the feeling that the spirits of past travelers and residents are still present. The wind whistling through the broken windows and empty buildings adds to the eerie ambience. Some believe that stretches of old Route 66, including the section running through Glenrio, retain the energy and perhaps the spirits of those who traveled it. 7. Riyolite, Nevada. Riyolite was a boomtown that emerged in the early 1900s following a significant gold discovery in the Bullfrog Hills. It rapidly grew into a substantial town with a stock exchange, multiple banks, a hospital, an opera house, and even a three-story schoolhouse. Its population peaked at around 3,500 to 5,000 people in just a few short years. Riyolite was a testament to the speculative nature of gold rushes in the American West. The rich gold veins proved to be short-lived, and the financial panic of 1907 further hastened Riyolite's decline. By 1911, the main mine had closed, and the town's population dwindled rapidly. By 1920, it was almost entirely deserted. Today, Riyolite stands as a striking collection of well-preserved ruins in the Nevada desert, including the iconic Tom Kelly Bottle House and the remnants of the train depot and banks. It's a popular spot for photographers and those interested in ghost towns. The stark and desolate beauty of Riyolite contributes to its haunted atmosphere. The ruins of this once bustling store are said to be haunted by the spirits of former shoppers and residents. Visitors have reported feeling watched and hearing faint whispers or the rustling of unseen movement. The skeletal remains of the schoolhouse evoke a sense of lost childhood and are sometimes associated with feelings of sadness or the faint sound of children's voices. The imposing ruins of the train depot, once a vital link to the outside world, are said to have a lingering energy, with some reporting the feeling of waiting for a train that will never arrive. While unique and picturesque, some visitors to the Bottle House have reported an unsettling feeling within its walls, perhaps due to the unusual construction and the stories of the family who lived there. The vast and silent desert surrounding Riyolite can amplify any feelings of unease, and some believe the spirits of those who perished in the harsh environment still linger. 6. Calico, California. Calico sprang to life in 1881 following the discovery of silver in the Calico Mountains. It quickly became a prosperous silver mining town, boasting a population of around 1,200 people at its peak. The town had over 500 mines, along with various businesses, saloons, and a post office. It was a significant silver producer for about a decade. The silver mines began to dry up in the late 1890s, and the price of silver plummeted. By the early 20th century, Calico was largely deserted. Walter Knott, the founder of Knott's Berry Farm, purchased the town in the 1950s and restored many of its original buildings, turning it into a popular tourist attraction known as Calico Ghost Town. While it's now a bustling historical site, some original and reconstructed buildings are said to retain an eerie atmosphere. Despite its restoration and tourist activity, Calico has its share of ghostly tales. Lucy Lane was a postmistress in Calico, and her house is one of the most frequently reported haunted locations. Visitors and employees have claimed to see her apparition, hear her footsteps, and experience cold spots within the house. Maggie Mine, this former silver mine, now open for tours, is said to be haunted by the spirits of miners who died in accidents. People have reported strange noises, feelings of being watched, and even shadowy figures within the mine tunnels. The old schoolhouse is another location where paranormal activity has been reported, including the sounds of children laughing or reciting lessons when no one is present. Some believe the spirit of a former storekeeper lingers in the general store, with reports of items being moved or falling off shelves inexplicably. Many visitors describe an overall eerie feeling as they walk through the historic streets, especially after dark. The feeling of the past being very close is common. 5. Kennott, Alaska. Kennott was a company town established in the early 20th century due to the rich copper deposits discovered in the area. The Kennott Copper Corporation built and operated the town and its vast mining infrastructure, which included multiple mines, a mill, a power plant, and residential buildings. Kennott was a self-contained community that thrived for several decades, becoming one of the richest copper mining operations in the world. The high-grade copper ore eventually ran out, and the Kennott mines were abruptly shut down in 1938. The company and most of its residents left almost overnight, leaving behind a remarkably intact ghost town. Due to its remote location and the harsh Alaskan climate, Kennott remained largely untouched for many years. It is now a National Historic Landmark and part of Wrangell St. Elias National Park and Preserve, attracting tourists interested in its industrial history and stunning scenery. The isolation and sudden abandonment of Kennott contribute to its eerie atmosphere and tales of lingering spirits. The massive, multi-story mill building is a focal point for many reported paranormal experiences. Visitors have described feeling cold spots, hearing unexplained industrial noises, like machinery still running, and sensing a heavy, oppressive atmosphere. The old hospital building is another area with reported activity, including the feeling of being watched and faint sounds of footsteps or moans. Some of the preserved houses are said to be haunted by the spirits of former residents, with reports of objects being moved and a feeling of unseen presence. There are stories of a lingering presence in the former office of the mine's general manager. The sheer scale of the abandoned industrial complex and the surrounding silence can create a profound sense of unease and the feeling that the past is still very much present. 4. Trilingua, Texas. Trilingua experienced a mercury mining boom in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The discovery of cinnabar, the ore from which mercury is extracted, led to the establishment of several mining companies and a bustling community in this remote part of West Texas. The Chizos Mining Company was the most significant operation. Trilingua was a rugged and isolated town, attracting a diverse population of miners, merchants, and their families. The demand for mercury declined after World War II, leading to the closure of the mines in the mid-20th century. Trilingua became a true ghost town, with its buildings falling into disrepair. However, in the late 20th century, it experienced a revival as a quirky tourist destination and a haven for artists and eccentrics drawn to its isolation and unique history. While not entirely abandoned anymore, the ruins of the old mining town and the historic cemetery serve as reminders of its past. Trilingua's haunted reputation is intertwined with its mining history and the harsh lives of its former residents. The Trilingua Trading Company, this historic building is said to be haunted by the spirit of a former owner or resident. Employees and visitors have reported unexplained noises, objects moving, and a general feeling of being watched. The Trilingua Cemetery, with its weathered headstones and unique folk art memorials, is a place where many visitors report feeling a strong sense of the past. Some claim to have seen ghostly figures or felt unexplained presences among the graves. The abandoned mine shafts and dilapidated buildings scattered around Trilingua are often associated with eerie feelings and stories of mining accidents and lost souls. Some people report hearing faint sounds or whispers coming from these areas. Being in the southwest, Trilingua also has its share of the La Llorona, the Weeping Woman, legend, with tales of her cries being heard near the Rio Grande River. 3. St. Elmo, Colorado. St. Elmo was a thriving mining camp nestled high in the Rocky Mountains, established in 1880. It quickly became one of the most productive gold and silver mining areas in Colorado. The town boasted several mines, a general store, a hotel, the St. Elmo Hotel, a telegraph office, saloons, and a school. It was a relatively isolated but self-sufficient community. The decline of St. Elmo began in the early 1920s when the Romley Tunnel, a major mining operation, closed. Shortly after, the railroad service to St. Elmo was discontinued, further isolating the town. By the 1930s, most of the residents had moved away. Unlike some other ghost towns, St. Elmo wasn't entirely deserted overnight but rather experienced a gradual decline. Many of its original wooden structures still stand, remarkably preserved due to the dry mountain air. It is now privately owned but generally accessible to the public during the summer months. St. Elmo has a reputation for being haunted, with several specific locations and stories. This is perhaps the most frequently reported haunted location. Visitors and caretakers have claimed to see the ghost of Dirty Annie, a former resident known for her eccentric behavior and love of animals. Her apparition is often described as a shadowy figure, and some have reported feeling her presence or hearing unexplained noises in the hotel. Some believe the spirit of the store's former owner lingers, with reports of items being moved or the feeling of being watched. Footsteps in empty buildings, disembodied voices, and the sound of doors opening and closing on their own have been reported throughout the town. Many visitors describe an eerie and unsettling feeling throughout St. Elmo, as if the spirits of its former residents are still present. The isolation and the well-preserved buildings contribute to this atmosphere. 2. Centralia, Pennsylvania. Centralia was a small mining town established in 1866. Anthracite coal mining was the lifeblood of the community, providing jobs and sustaining the local economy for decades. The town had a relatively normal existence with churches, schools, businesses, and a close-knit community. In 1962, a fire started in a landfill above an abandoned coal mine. This fire spread to the vast network of underground coal seams and has been burning uncontrollably ever since. The persistent underground fire made the town increasingly uninhabitable due to sinkholes, toxic gases, primarily carbon monoxide and sulfur dioxide, and the ground collapsing. In the 1980s, the situation worsened, leading to the condemnation of most of the town. The population dwindled from over 1,000 at its peak after the fire started to just a handful of residents who refused to leave. The Pennsylvania Department of Transportation rerouted State Route 61 around the most damaged section of town, and the original road has buckled and cracked due to the heat. While the primary danger in Centralia is the ongoing fire and its physical consequences, the eerie, desolate atmosphere and the knowledge of the disaster contribute to its haunted reputation. The most prominent haunting is the constant presence of smoke rising from the ground, the smell of sulfur in the air, and the visible damage caused by the underground inferno. This serves as a constant reminder of the town's demise. The once vibrant town is now largely silent, with only the crackling of the fire and the wind whistling through the empty streets. This silence can be unsettling. Some visitors have reported smelling coal smoke even in areas where it's not visibly present or hearing faint echoes of the town's past, like the sounds of mining or distant voices. The cracked and buckled remains of Route 61, often referred to as the Graffiti Highway, have an otherworldly feel and contribute to the town's haunted ambience. 1. Bodhi, California. Bodhi boomed as a gold mining town in the late 1870s. It quickly grew from a few prospectors to a bustling community with thousands of residents. By 1879, it had an estimated population of 5,000 to 7,000 people and boasted over 65 saloons, numerous businesses, churches, and even a schoolhouse. The town was known for its lawlessness and rough-and-tumble atmosphere, earning it a reputation as one of the wildest towns in the West. The Standard Consolidated Mining Company was the primary driver of its prosperity. As the gold mines began to dwindle in the early 1880s, Bodhi's population started to decline. By the early 20th century, it was largely a ghost town. Intermittent mining operations continued on a smaller scale until the 1940s. In 1962, Bodhi became a California State Historic Park, and it has been preserved in a state of arrested decay. The buildings are left as they were found, with furniture and belongings still inside, offering a unique glimpse into the past. Bodhi is considered one of the most well-preserved and genuinely haunted ghost towns in the United States. Many visitors and park rangers have reported paranormal activity. Common experiences include: legend says that taking anything from Bodhi will result in bad luck. People who have ignored this warning often report experiencing misfortunes until the stolen items are returned. The park even receives returned items with letters detailing the bad luck they brought. Visitors have reported seeing shadowy figures in the windows of buildings, particularly the church and the cane house. Some claim to have seen full-bodied apparitions walking the streets or inside the old homes. Sounds such as children laughing, footsteps inside empty buildings, and whispers have been reported. The sound of billiard balls clicking in the old saloons has also been mentioned. Many people report feeling sudden cold spots or an inexplicable sense of unease in certain buildings or areas of the town, particularly around the cemetery. There are stories of objects being moved or rearranged inside the preserved buildings when no one is around.